Hi, I'm Clarke of Clarkey Contracting. I'm here on the wharfhead of the Comox Valley Harbour Authority to give you a brief demonstration on how to perform basic routine maintenance on a standard small craft harbour derrick. There are many different styles of cranes, winches and derricks along the BC coast, but this model, the steel stiff leg derrick, is by far the most common. It's a proven workhorse. Although the styles may be different, the principles of derrick or crane maintenance are the same. Grease it, lube it, to keep it moving. So as with any equipment a harbour has available to its users, it's important to ensure the Harbour Authority has good policies in place. So I'm going to start off with some basic terminology about this model. First up, we have the mast. It's where the load winch and the boom winch attach. It's the main component of the derrick, and it must rotate freely. It does this by having a main bearing down here in the mast plate and a cap bearing up in the hub. So this derrick has two legs which provide lateral support and leg footings to secure the legs to the wharfhead. So this unit has a hydraulic powered load winch. It raises and lowers by this lever. The load line goes up the mast, through the load sheave on the mast, out to the boom sheave, down through the hook and block, and back up to the tail hold. For the boom, we have a hand crank boom winch here. The boom line goes straight up in the mast, through the boom sheave on the mast, back through the boom sheave on the boom, and back to a tail hold on the plate connector. The hand crank boom winch has two handle positions for two operating speeds. The middle position is for faster raising and lowering, and the lower cog spot is for slower raising and lowering. They both have latches or pinion retaining pins to hold the handles in place. There's a handbrake as well, and a cog dog. Always ensure the cog dog is engaged when raising a load. And don't forget to have your derrick's load limit clearly displayed. So before we get started, we need to talk a little bit about safety. You're going to need some good personal protective equipment. Start with some good rubber gloves, nice set of eyeglasses, good set of overalls. The tools you're going to need. You're going to want to get yourself a good grease gun, filled with some high quality grease. I like this battery powered model by DeWalt. It allows for one-handed operation when you're up at the top of the ladder. That's really important. Some old rags, nice old leather glove, a putty knife for scraping away the old grease, a hammer, an old bolt, and of course you're going to need a ladder as well to get up top. Vehicles can come onto the wharfhead at any time, so make sure you block off your access by putting up a few cones. So the object of derrick maintenance is just to keep all the parts moving freely. This unit has 12 different grease nipples we have to do, and 2 cables or wire ropes that need lubing. Now I'm protected and ready to go. I like to start by lowering the boom first. While you do this, you want to check to see if the operation of the brake. So remove your cog dog, start the lowering process. As it's going down, check your brake operation. Seems to work good to me. When the unit's down at its furthest range of motion, always should have 3 wraps left on the drum. With the boom down, it's easy to access all the nipples now. I'm going to start with the boom drum nipple. When greasing up a bearing or sheave, you just simply want to put in new grease till the old grease starts squeezing out behind. Simply do this by connecting your grease gun to the nipple and squeezing in a little new grease till new grease comes out. Once the desired amount has been applied, simply remove your grease gun, take your putty knife, scrape away the old grease, and move on to the remaining nipples. Now all the greasing's been done, we move on to lubing the wire ropes. First, have a look, see if there's any signs of damage, kinks, or any frays or anything. Once you've determined that there's not and they're good to go, we need to lube it. To lube the wire ropes, I recommend using this product, Lube It. It's a good penetrating lubricant which gets down deep to the hemp core of the wire rope. So to apply the Lube It, I like to take an old leather glove, an old thick rag, put a bit of the Lube It on the rag, and then start with the wire rope. Make sure that you wrap all the way around so that it penetrates properly. It's a good idea to start at one end and finish at the other, ensuring that the wraps on the drum get done. Now the boom cable's been thoroughly lubed, we can wind in the boom winch. Important part here is that you keep the wraps tight. So what I like to do is stop every few turns and hammer it over. Always ensure you have the brake on whenever you stop. Hammer it over to the previous wrap so it stays tight. Now the boom cable's been done, we move on to the load cable. I'm just going to simply repeat the process for this one. I like to use an old bolt to help me direct it as it comes up. Now all the greasing and lubing's been done, it's time to have a look at your hook. It should rotate freely and have a good working hook latch. Keep the loads from slipping off. Finally, take a good look at all the bolts that hold the mast plate and your leg footings to the wharf head. Make sure they're tight and in good condition. Now we're finished the maintenance, but we're not done yet. Make sure you record what you've done in your maintenance logbook. Now the Harbour Authority's maintenance schedule is dependent on the amount of use and the age of the unit. But every day you should have a look to make sure it's in safe operating condition. That concludes my demonstration on how to perform basic routine maintenance on a standard small craft Harbour derrick. I'm Clarke of Clarkey Contracting.